This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We talked a little bit yesterday about Peter Thiel, I always say Thiel, Peter Thiel, his interview with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend. He also has given a more extensive interview, the German magazine that's very good, covers a wide range of topics. But Thiel talking about why he's leaving Silicon Valley for L.A. and talking about the downside of the network effect that helped propel Silicon Valley to be the incubator of all these great tech companies. The idea that kind of people and resources are together in the same physical space, the same ecosystem, and so it provides for real interconnectedness and everybody knowing everybody very well. But the downside is that everybody starts to think the same. And he argues that Silicon Valley has gone from being a liberal place to a totalitarian space where dissent is essentially not tolerated, at least not without consequence. And I suggested you could apply that same analysis to the D.C. press corps. You could also apply it to particular voter demographics, though that's changing and that's encouraging. It's anecdotal largely, but you see younger black families rethinking their allegiance to the Democrat Party. And some of the anecdotes and the conversion stories in this walkaway movement that started, this hashtag walkaway that started online, that like DC hairstylist, have been pretty interesting. This is a good one Jesse Waters got on Fox. He's this gentleman's name is Rob Smith, an African-American gay military veteran. And listen to what Smith said in terms of what sort of brought him to his tipping point with respect to affiliating with the Democratic Party.
I think that for me, I got so sick of the lies, specifically what they were telling black people. So when you're a black person and you get these messages from Democrats, it says that you are a victim. It says that you need us to succeed. You need us to achieve. You need this ever-expanding welfare state to be able to make something of yourself. And for me, I got so tired of it, and I got sick of that message that I needed them. And I got sick of that message of victimhood that they continue to push to black Americans over and over and over again for the last 3 decades of my life. So what they want to do is they want to keep people in line. I think Democrats use identity politics to keep people in line, to keep black people in line, to keep Latinos in line, to keep gay people in line. I'm black and gay, and I've seen them use the same tactics for black people as they do for gay people.
And when he came out as Republican?
I didn't lose friends when I came out as gay. I've lost friends since coming out as a Republican.
Really?
People do not understand it. And these are the left that's supposed to be so tolerant and so inclusive, and these are the people that were the first to shun me when I came out as conservative.
And the operative question that Rob Smith asks rhetorically, but perhaps more will ask.
Why can't I have different ideas? Why can't I be free thinking? Why can't I have a victor mentality? Why do all of these things that I'm thinking of that I think could benefit me and other people that look like me, it doesn't always have something to do with white people. It could just be that there are different ideas that I'm connecting to more.
For more on this topic in the context of Trump economic policies that are colorblind in terms of impact and so are generating allegiance from perhaps non-traditional Republican quarters. We're pleased to be joined by Ken Blackwell, former Ohio Secretary of State and a former domestic policy advisor to the Trump transition team. Ken, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
It's good to be with you both. That was a fascinating interview, and it showed me that more and more people, regardless of gender or color, are really willing to take a risk in a growth economy. The old baseball player Satchel Paige once said, "It's damn difficult to steal second base if you want to keep 1 foot on first base." And so, what you see more and more people saying is that I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to go for the gusto, and that only happens in a growing economy, and the president has put us on a different path. He hasn't just tinkered with the economy. He has grown it very rapidly because he's put us on a growth path with his, cutting through red tape and reducing onerous regulations, cutting taxes, and this is an entrepreneur who understands that capital seeks the path of least resistance and greatest opportunity, and we had trillions of dollars sitting offshore because we had, just a crazy tax scheme. We had, again, onerous regulations, and we were trying to build a welfare state as opposed to an opportunity society. And once we get on that different path of creating an opportunity society, you're going to see more and more Latinos, blacks, gays, you name it, putting on that jersey and saying, I want opportunity.
Now, Ken, Satchel Paige, since you invoked him, also said that age is a question of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. I have not found that to be true. I don't know how you feel about aging.
Well, at almost 71, I think Satchel has something there.
Okay, all right, very good. Very good.
Now, there's news this morning that President Trump may have a second round of tax cuts, but it would only benefit the top 1%. Are you familiar with this new plan?
Well, look, what we know about the first go around is that it benefited not in terms of the tax structure. He didn't bring that top rate down as low as he wanted to. I think tax reform 2.0 is going to not just be zeroed in on the upper income brackets, but I would imagine that they will benefit substantially since most small businesses are LLCs, and therefore, when you start to bring their rate down, they start to do what everyone else has done, and that is to invest more in our economy and in their workforce. And we know that most of the jobs that are created by companies that hire 20 and 50 and 100 and 150 people, not major corporations who have become more globalist in their orientation. So tax reform 2.0 is an attempt to substantially change our tax structure where everybody will benefit and put, opportunity on every branch of the American economic tree.
Now, Larry Kudlow was on over the weekend on Face the Nation, and he talked about the GDP number that was announced on Friday, of course, and that he made the point that, the war on success is over, the war on business is over. And you're a policy guy, but you were also a former elected official, so you know the messaging piece of this discussion as well in the context of a political campaign. We're less than 100 days from the midterms. How important is that part of the message to rinse and repeat over the next 100 days, that the war on success, the war on business that predated the Trump administration is over, and it's producing these results, and it's generating more take-home pay and all of the benefits of entrepreneurial capitalism?
Oh, I think it is very, very important. Look, our culture was rapidly becoming one where earning money didn't entitle you to it, but wanting money did. And the president has changed their paradigm. And I think that's what, conservatives, pro-capital, pro-market, free market candidates, Republicans have to go out and run on. They have to run on the politics of addition and multiplication, not the politics of the left, which is, the politics of subtraction and division. And if they do that, I call it Jack Kemp happy talk. And if they do that, they will win. And so, if, in fact, they retreat, to the politics of, subtraction and division, if they embrace a status quo that most Americans understood was not working, they will lose.
So hope, growth, and opportunity on the one side, but then how do you message with respect to what the other side is doing? How would you tackle the, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders socialism crowd?
Well, I would basically ask those folks to show us where an authoritarian, totalitarian, or big welfare state has succeeded at the pace of in the pace of inclusion and general growth and opportunity as our free market system has. Look, in 240 plus years, America has become the most prosperous, the most ethnically diverse country in all of human history. You can prove it out in every statistic. If folks want to choose the path of Venezuela, go that way. But if in fact they want to stay on the path of expanding economic opportunity and work, then they'll understand that they need to look at the facts and not the fantasy that's been perpetuated by some of these far leftists who have utilitarian and other sort of dreams.
Now, Mr. Blackwell, the midterm elections are 98 days away. Are you concerned that the House is going to flip into Democratic hands?
Well, the House will flip if, in fact, they don't stay on the same page with the president. At the end of the day, what we're up against in these midterm elections is base intensity. The left is running on, again, division, hate, envy, and they are ginning up their base. We can't let our base just be satisfied with hearing our messaging of our economy is growing. We must tell them that if they don't come out and the left wins, they will not just impeach the president. They will change the narrative. They will change the path and put us back on a path of slow growth and division, and the only thing that will be growing is the welfare state. And what we know throughout examining all of history, that whether it's a totalitarian or authoritarian or big welfare state, there are two things that they do. They, in fact, destroy and weaken the family because that builds more dependency on the government. And we know that the family in our culture has been the incubator of liberty. And they silence the church in those other forms of government because they want folks to believe that their freedom and fundamental human rights don't come from a higher power. They come from a bigger government. And when they do those things, they in fact put folks on a path of serfdom as opposed to free thinking and opportunity seeking citizens.
That's quite a range. Satchel Paige to Frederick Hayek. That's very impressive. He is Ken Blackwell, former Ohio Secretary of State and domestic policy advisor to the Trump transition team. His recent column, Unleashing America's Entrepreneurial Spirit. Ken Blackwell, thanks as always for joining us. Real pleasure. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you both.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.